Hi, welcome back to the Impact Driven Entrepreneur. Today we have Ingrid Owens, an amazing visibility coach, and she's been a client of mine for, oh gosh, probably a little bit over a year now. And we're going to be talking about a case study, how she has progressed through the program, and also her amazing business and what she's been able to do over the last few months and year. So welcome, Ingrid. Thanks
Hey,
for being here.
thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yay. So tell us a little bit about how you got started with your business and what your background is, because I love for everyone to really understand your business and what you do.
Well, I've been in I've been in business for a long time. In internet years, I'm like an internet granny at this point. I've been in business online for myself for 11 years. I started the year before my daughter was born because I was in corporate America. I'm originally from Ireland, but I live here now in Atlanta. And I was in a corporate America and I got a taste of their maternity leave and everything is quite different here compared to what I have experienced in Europe. And I'm like, yeah, 6 weeks maternity is not going to fly with me. So let's get the show on the road ahead of time. And it's funny when I think back now, I think, gosh, I had so much time before I had kids. Like, what was I doing? But that was what prompted me to kind of work for myself. My dad's an entrepreneur. I grew up in a family business. So I always had that in me, that I knew that it was possible to make a living for myself and I didn't really have to answer to the man, whoever he is. So I started that. I started doing, because I have a background in photography, and it was the time when everybody was starting with digital cameras and like that was starting to become a big thing, but they didn't know how to use them. And I had a background in that because of my family business. So I used my marketing skills to get my clients in the door. And I was teaching clients here in Atlanta in person, and developed online courses, membership site, training. I did all sorts of live classes with all sorts of hooked together webinar systems before there was Zoom and all these lovely things. So yes, and I did all of that online. And with that, I also did blogging and affiliate marketing, and kind of was using a lot of different things. And behind all of it was my love of business and marketing. I mean, the funny thing was that as much as I was in the photography industry, I did never want to be a photographer. I was always really clear about that. And I spent my time like consuming business podcasts and marketing podcasts and everything to do with strategy and all of that. And, that was what my degree is in. That's what my business degree is. I have a business degree from a very good school. And so it was like, oh yeah, like, it could have been any business really, but it was photography that I grew up in. So that's what I did. And then 2 years ago, when my daughter was old enough, she was at kindergarten, I was like, okay, so maybe I could do what I really want to do, because like the photography thing is becoming really heavy. And the market has changed for sure in that business too. So I was like, okay, so let's let's own it now. Let's start to do business coaching. So I started as a consultant because that's what I thought I was. And then I realized quickly, no, I'm not that either. So I started, I've been coaching now for 2 years. So helping people with their visibility now is the latest thing on that. But yeah. And what's funny, Mariana, is I don't know if I've ever shared this story with you, is that before I came to America 13 years ago, I was out walking with my dad. I used to walk because I was trying to lose weight for my wedding, and I would walk with him every day. And I have a great relationship with him anyway. But he was saying like, well, what are you going to do? What do you want to do? And I was like, there was just a way that I could help people with their business. I mean, I don't want to like tell them what to do, but I'd love to just be with them and help them. And Dad was like, oh, I don't know if that's a thing. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a thing either. So I was just a little ahead of my time.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
So, as you transitioned there, like what were some of the things you were thinking? And like, what was that hesitation, right? Because you knew what your aligned path was, but like, it was not that simple, right? To just be like,
Yeah.
this is what I'm going to do, and then just make that choice. So like, what prompted you there?
Well, oh my gosh. So when I was, what really prompted me out, well, what prompted me into the photography thing, I've explained, it was very much like a, do this is something I can do, I can make money at. And it was a very strategic thing. And it made a lot of sense. And it was very much revolved around my family. When I made the move into consulting, as it was very much a, again, this is what I think I should do. This is the view of somebody who's graduated, and that I see all these peers around me who are, with these high-powered jobs and whatever. And even though that really is never what I've ever been about, on some level I was like, okay, now this is my chance to do it. This is the thing I'm supposed to be doing. And when I really dug into that, I was like, that would really make my daddy really happy. And that was like, whoa, like that's not what I actually really want to do. So
yeah,
there was a lot of self-coaching and a lot of coaching by you and other people, that I've had to come to that conclusion that it's really a coach that I want to be, and I can still help people. And I can not even still help people, I can add more value to their business by just that, and not telling them just what to do. It's so deeper than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that like finally embracing coaching was like a big milestone for you to be like, huge. Oh, actually, I am a coach.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to do.
Yeah. And that I'm good at it. And I've been doing it all along. That's something else as well. It's like, that, but other people could see that, and it just took me a long time to kind of come to that realization that, oh yeah, okay, this is what it is. And now it's kind of like, I'm doing it. Look, I'm doing it. And it feels amazing. And just to own that, and to have the confidence in myself to own it. But that's, that was really the thing that I think I've come to this year. Even though we were talking about this beforehand, that I really thought that I was there already, because I had all the pieces. And I'm smart enough to know all of this, right? I should know it all.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. What has been the difference between thinking you know it and then being in a coaching program and learning the way that I teach it, because I think there's so many people out there that need this program and need what I do. Yeah. However, you are either already running a successful business, like you were, right? Like you were already running a business. Like you have a business degree, like you have a fucking MBA.
You know what to do. Well, no, let's be clear. It's not an MBA, but it's from a very good, reputable school. So it's from like the best business schools. It is the best business school in Ireland, but it's, yeah.
So you have a degree in this. So what has been the difference between knowing what to do and then being in a coaching program?
It's because you're forced to look at the deeper stuff. It's not like they don't teach this shit at school, never. And a lot of people say, to me, well, you've got the entrepreneur gene, you've seen it. And I don't know about that, because when I talked to my dad about that, he was like, well, I wouldn't, if I had it my way. I was forced into entrepreneurship. He had an easy, quote unquote, easy life, where he was on the golf course at 3:00 in his corporate job, and then he was made redundant. So he was like, it's not the easy path, Ingrid. And that was making me thought like, well, then I kind of looked at that and I was like, well, that's a story. I don't have the entrepreneurial gene, but what I did see was it modeled for me, and I knew that it was possible. So that was good. Yeah. But all the other stuff, I still had to work through all of that. And you can't see that picture when you're in it, you can't see the photograph when you're part of it. So I think that it's really, it takes a coach to call you out on your bullshit stories. And I've been guilty of this, and you called me out on this as well. And I always hear myself when we've been on our coaching calls, that I'm like, I know this, I know I'm doing this, I know I'm doing this. But you know what? what are you doing about it? That was the big difference. And actually, I think when I think about it, like the me now compared to the me a year ago, I knew the mindset stuff, but I wasn't doing the mindset stuff. And that's huge, you know, because, and it really kind of dawned on me, because part of the way that I have had taught photography, you know, it's very much like, this is theory, you know, now you've got to go do it. Like I might be had been in a session with somebody and I'm like, now you think you know that you think you know how to do photography, but you've got to actually go take pictures. So that's how you figure it out. And I knew a lot of this stuff theoretically. Even doing a group program, I was like, well, I know how to do launch, I know how to do a funnel, but it's not actually until you do it that you're faced with the like, oh shit, like I've got to actually, you know, call the people and talk to the people and do all the things. And that creates like, you know, then the I've got to actually put all this into practice. And I had been missing that. I think I had, you know, I think we suffer from being too smart sometimes in that way. And sometimes you're better if you don't know anything and you just like go blindly into it, you know, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that that's like a common thing I see with pretty much all my clients. You guys are the smartest people I know. And yet, like, we still, and I raise my hand to this, we just don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And the only way we get to know is by really getting that, like, that reflection, like you said, like someone really calling you out and say, but are you doing that? Yeah. Or how can we get you to actually execute on that more frequently to get the result that you want?
Yeah. And you know, I always would have said to my, like, I'm not a person who needs accountability. And in some regards, like I feel like I hold myself to a high enough standard, but I realized I also let myself like slide on a lot of things. So even though I would pride myself, like if somebody asked me to, you know, if I was meeting a client, I would always be there, like never, ever, ever missed like a session. I missed one session one time by somebody else. And I blame a sick child for that, but that's life. But if it was on, I would say, well, if it's on my calendar, you know, I'm going to do it. But like, then the excuses come up and the things get pushed down. So it's just having that group, that support, and that accountability is really big. Like, even though I said that I don't need somebody to tell me, because that's part of the entrepreneur thing, right? It's like, I'm not going to have that. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. But then it's like, okay, well, yeah, sometimes you need that. You need that little mirror, right? To say, well, it's not for Mariana. It's like, you said this, that you were going to do it for yourself. So why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
that was good.
Yeah.
So,
and so you get the accountability. So you and some of the peers in the group have built some beautiful accountability relationships.
That's been, that's been something that I also didn't expect. And I was, you know, and it again was hard. Again, because you're like, I've got this. I mean, I had my first coach 2 years ago. And I was like, well, I did it all right, ready before that. And I had met people, but they were always, there was nothing kind of set up. And I had tried to do masterminds and stuff before. There was never really any it was always people falling off and just things that weren't so structured. But what's come out of this is that, and I said this to one of the other girls in the group, I think that it's testament to your ability to know your people, that even though we are vastly different, like I would imagine we really are, right? But underlying, we have the same freaking issues. And it blows my mind every week when somebody like will, like, you know, they get up the courage and they write their big thing and they say, and then it's like, oh my God, me too. Me too. Like,
and everyone else is like, me too.
Yes. And there's so much comfort. It's not even comfort. It's not a wallow. Oh, like, oh, here we all are. Like, it's like, yeah, but, and like, I can regurgitate something that I, you know, have learned, or that I like sparks in me, and that can help somebody else, and vice versa. And it's powerful stuff. Powerful stuff.
Yeah. I think the most beautiful thing about our community is because I'm very honest with you guys. You guys are all so honest and willing to be coached at that level. Yeah. Because if you can't be honest and transparent in a coaching situation, you're never going to get the most out of it. You know, and for you, like, I always commend you for coming to the table honest, you know, and that's when the biggest breakthroughs have really come for you.
Yeah.
Is when you're willing to be vulnerable and show up fully. And I think that happens because I am honest too. Yeah. Like, I will always say, hey, like, that launch just went really bad. Right? Like,
yeah. And I think that's a real privilege to have that relationship with somebody that, you know, it is, because we, on the outside, when you're looking out through the windows, like, you're not getting an accurate view of anything. And I had that experience, especially as a marketer and a strategist. I've probably signed up to so many email lists over the years, you know, under the guise of, and legitimately so, like, I'm going to see how they do their funnel. I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what else is out there. But that also leads you to believe, like, all the bullshit sometimes, that you're not getting the full story. And even though these people might be quote unquote mentors or whatever, you're still not getting the full story. So to have you as a coach who's so transparent, and the other girls who are so transparent about the good stuff and the bad stuff, it just makes it really a great place to be. And you know, I feel like I find my people, you know, in that regard, like, you know, and I would never have picked them like if I was trying to do it like myself. Because you can't see those things, right? You can't see the real deep stuff. It takes a long time for people to, you know, to show that up. So yeah, you saved us the trouble.
Yeah. So what do you think has been kind of like the biggest things that you've gotten from the coaching because I think in the last quarter, so we do quarterly reviews, so everyone understands. So every quarter we kind of like do a full rundown top to bottom of your business. What do you think in the last quarter was your biggest breakthroughs or realizations, ahas?
The last quarter specifically had a lot of ahas for me. And I really do think that I got a lot of clarity around everything. But the reason why I got the clarity was because of the confidence of owning it all. And, you know, because again, I could have come up with, you know, I help people with visibility. Well, like, duh, like, yeah. But because that's what marketing is, right? And it's all about, you know, that. However, it took me to kind of come that whole full circle to figure that out, because I wasn't, up to that point, I wasn't fully owning that's how I could help people. And ironically, you know, those are the issues that I've had to conquer, you know, that my own self, you know. And so I'm like, really? Like, okay, yes, I get it. Like, I mean, it cracks me up. Like, I just think the whole thing is hilarious, but like, that these are the lessons and we're learning the lessons. So I think what's really happened is now we're learning the lessons, or I'm learning the lessons so fast. Like there's definitely been a real speed up on the whole thing, which has been, it's kind of exciting. It's very invigorating, and it is exciting that, like, and then I feel like, you know, it took me this long to get here, but like now I've seemed to like really speed it up in that last minute. So it's confidence, but, you know, I would never have said I needed a confidence coach.
Yes. I will say that is, like resounding around all my clients. Like I used to have one client who she's like, I'm like, this is a confidence issue. And she was like, I don't have a confidence problem. A year later, she comes back to me and goes, I get it now. It was about confidence, right? But it's so funny because we don't ever see that we need that confidence, right? Like it's, but that owning it is what allows you to show up for yourself. Because if you don't have that good relationship with yourself and you are confident, then you're not going to show up for yourself. And that's going to be the struggle.
Yeah. I you know, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say I don't think, like, I went through the like mindset, I need a mindset person, and I did that. And, you know, and it's funny. I'm like, but I've always worked on my mindset. And I really did, like, I started, it's funny, I was going through books and I found Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, which I got in Australia when I was 24. And so I've always been like this self-help book person, but the implementation of it has not been something that I've done on a basis until I started this program. And that's been the real work. And then with that comes, it's like you peeling it back, and you find more and more and more crap. And that's really because it is deep rooted stuff, you know, that you have that we have to clear out before we can actually step up and own ourselves. And, you know, and realizing and coming to the understanding that it's enough. Like, I'm enough. I can do this, you know. And that's not stuff you expect to get from a business coach. And it's foundational.
Yeah.
You know, it really, really is.
Yeah, because how can you show up for a sales call if you don't have that?
Yeah.
Right? If you don't believe in your product, you don't believe in what you're doing in your service, like, how could you get to the sales?
Yeah.
Right? Like, or even to hiring, right? Like, because even hiring is like releasing control, right? Like, those are mindset things.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, as well, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, but there's always something else. Like, I'll never forget that when I got like one of my first big like paydays, and I was like, oh, but what if I can't, you know, but what if I don't, like, can't do it? Like, what if she's made a mistake, you know, maybe and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with me? You know, like, this feels really uncomfortable. Like, I've got the thing that I wanted, but now I'm like, what is that? And so it's just this constant, like you said it really recently, it's like brushing your teeth. Like, you've got to do it. And the other thing that you said that was really smart was, and before a big thing, you brush your teeth. Like, you know, it's like, you know, it's not like I brushed my teeth like 6 hours ago, so now I'm ready to go on a diet. Like, no, you're going to do it again. All the time.
Yes.
So
yes.
So
I love that. So basically what you're saying is, like, because you had owned it and you had the confidence, you had the skill set to deal with it, even when it came and it wasn't expected, right? Because I think everyone sees, oh my God, but when I make X number of dollars, then everything will be perfect. And I won't have this thought anymore, or I won't be struggling. I won't be so insecure. I won't be whatever.
Yeah. It's the awareness. It's becoming aware of that, and then having the tools to, like, no, okay, stop. It's self-coaching. You know, I think that's something as well. It's like, it's coaching yourself through, like, you're awesome, but you're not right here all the time. Sometimes it feels like it, but you've got to be able to take this stuff that you learn and put it into practice all the time, because it's always something else is going to come up. Like, I think that's what I thought before, Mariana. I think I thought I just need to get confidence, just like I need to get, you know, a funnel, or I need to learn how to use ConvertKit. I need to learn how to be confident, and then I've got it. And I pay this subscription. It doesn't work like that. Like, you know, it's a constant thing, because that's who we are, humans, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I think that was huge. And having the tools and the awareness And yeah, I mean, and it spills over to all sorts of areas of your life as well. It doesn't just, make things better in your business, which it does, but it also makes things better with your family, your relationships, and how you approach different subjects. And I think we were talking about that in our last call, that it was nothing to do with business or strategy, but it's like how other people, how to guard that boundary too. So
Yeah.
very good.
Love it. Love it. Okay. So is there anything else that you think is important for people to understand or to know about, or anything else that you want to talk about?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. What do I want people to talk about? I guess one of the things that we have talked about in our last couple of calls, I think as well, was this whole idea about, and it's kind of similar to what we're talking about, but the coach, needing a coach,
Mm-hmm.
and the pyramid scheme that is sometimes people say, and it's such bullshit. And I think just like if you want to be an elite performer in your athletes, like my daughter is a good example. Like, she plays piano, and she's 10 and she's been doing it since she was 6. So, but she'll say to me, there was definitely a period where she's like, I can play the piano now, Mom. And I'm like, yeah, you can, but we're going to get past, do re mi, and you're going to keep going to your piano lessons every week. That's why we pay your teacher. You're never going to be done with your piano lessons. And I think that it's that, and like now she's got such a joy in it, and it's so easy, but she'll still come up against, problems. But it's the same with your business. Like, having a business coach is just so much more than somebody to tell you what the strategy is or what the tactic. I think that is a really thing. Like, it's not about getting more followers or getting more metrics that are going to make it all look good. There's not a secret sauce. I mean, there's not a formula that nobody is telling you.
Yes.
It's
I think that's one of the initial things I ever say. It's when people join, I'm like, there's no secret.
I know, right? I mean, it's like
just speed it up.
Let's see the the hidden PDF now. Let me see where it is. Like, what is those magic words that we say to people? And it all comes from within. But here's the but. And actually, this is a sabotaging thought that I had. Not this year, it was probably last year, because I was like, you're right, it all comes from within, and I'm quite an intuitive person. And then I'm like, well, if it all comes from within, people don't need a coach. Why would they need somebody else? So why would they need me? Oh my God, so I'm trying to be this business coach, and that doesn't even make sense because everybody already has the answers, so we're done here. And that was the biggest bullshit ever. That was the biggest story. And now I'm like, well done, Ingrid's brain. You are so smart that you came up with that, and that you even involved the intuition with all of that. That was really, really clever. But the truth is you need that person to mirror your shit back to you. Mm-hmm. And everybody needs that coach. I believe I think that life coaching and business coaching and all of this, health coach, I think we live in a wonderful time, and that we are so privileged to get to do this. There's no reason why people can't, up their game and do whatever they want to do, which in whatever area of their life. And having that coach is something really, really, it's really important. And, like I said, we pay for our kids for everything. Why don't we give our own self the same chance? So if that makes sense.
Yes.
I feel
strongly about that. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was a thing that even I struggled with, is well, is it almost like a pyramid scheme that these coaches are hiring other coaches? And I went out, and I am not kidding, I went out to validate my knowledge on businesses of all sorts. I've done consulting in medical field, in teaching and education, and all these other fields, to go and prove to myself that this was not just some pyramid scheme of marketing of something, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll just save everyone the time on that.
Yeah.
Or like, once my clients get to this level, once I get to 6 figures, once my clients make 6 figures, then everything will just be easy and blah. Like, there is none of that. Like, there is nothing outside of yourself. It's just a matter of you owning it. And a coach can help you to reflect that. So what happened is, I have always coach. I've only had a small period of time where I didn't have a coach. And immediately, like, it was like a month later, I was like, I am going bananas in my brain. I need someone to reel me in and to make sure I am executing on the things I'm supposed to be doing. And really that reflection, right? Because that's when you're going to go out there and you're going to do these things that are not in alignment with your true vision, because either one, you either just want it for the money, or two, you're trying to validate to yourself something that is total lie, right? Yeah. And that doesn't serve you. It was exhausting, frankly. Yeah. And I agree with you 100%. Coaching is something that we all have the competitive advantage to be able to to get, you know? Yeah. And so, yeah, totally.
Yeah, I really do feel that it's, you know, a lot of, we have, because we have more information than we've ever had that we can ever, you know what to do with. Like, everything that you could want to know the answer to is out there. You know, there's no course. Like, yeah, courses are great that are going to talk you through what you need to know. And I'm a big, I mean, I sell a lot of courses. I'm a big believer in courses. And I really figured that out with my photography, is that it doesn't matter. Like, you know, you've got to be able to get out and do it and have somebody to give you that feedback. The feedback is really, really huge. So, you know, because the feedback in your brain sometimes is just like an echo chamber. You don't want that. Yeah. So that's good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love it. I'm so happy that we had that honest conversation in public with them.
I know, right? I forget. Oh yeah, I forget this is public. This is just a coaching. This is
our regular coaching call. But it's so important, because I think there's probably somebody out there who's thinking that. Yeah. Who's either afraid to own going into coaching or afraid to get into it because of whatever they're thinking. Right? Like, if the two of us thought it, and we're pretty damn smart, no offense, like not to brag, but we are, right? Like, we both have advanced degrees.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so there's probably somebody else out there who's also thinking the same thing.
And also, Mariana, for the people who think that they don't need a coach, like, I felt like, I mean, that was my biggest thing. I have got this. And I would look at somebody like you and say, I want to be her. Like, I don't want her to, I want to do what she's doing. And that's just weird. Like, I'm not going to ask her. Like, she's not going to tell me. Like, it was a weird dynamic that actually, if another person hadn't like pushed me, I probably would have like played into that story. And I'm not really sure where I'd be right now. To be honest, I think I'd be stuck spinning my wheels. I don't know. That's a really horrible thought to think, like, what would have happened if I hadn't made these thoughts changes over the last couple of months. I mean, it's been almost a year, but yeah, it's been, like I said, it all kind of warp speed towards the very end there. And I'm not finished by a long shot. But when I say the end, but it's that's kind of it. Like, for me, that was a big block. Was like, you know, just realizing that you don't always have it all. There are bits missing. There's something missing. If I know this and I know this is why is it not working? Like,
exactly,
it's something to do with me, and not in a negative Debbie Downer on me way, because I think that's the way that I could have gone. I could have gone like, well, crap, it is me. I'm obviously not cut out for this. Off we go to get a job. But I don't think that will ever happen with me. I don't think I can.
Yeah, but I don't know what it that's why 90% of businesses fail, or whatever the statistic is, right? Yeah. It's like, we buy into that story
Isn't
or
that so
whatever.
sad? Isn't that so
Yeah.
sad that that many people have that much? Because it takes a lot to get courage with your, like, to get courageous and own up and stand up and say that I want to do this. And then to like just end because you think there's a missing formula and actually it's you. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a good reason to do what we do, I think. If
Yeah.
nothing. Mm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Absolutely. And I mean, we do provide the knowledge base, but we also do a lot of the interpersonal, right? So like it's not like we're doing therapy. That's one of my pet peeves because I was in
Oh
a
God,
coaching
yes.
program that was like therapy and I'm like, no, 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 no. That's like never going to grow your business, right? So there is kind of that mixture between the knowledge base and the
Oh yeah.
and
Well, especially with the impact formula. I mean, yeah, for sure. I'm not a therapist. I mean, that was another a story that I was like, I don't want to be a coach because I don't want to fix anybody. Like, I'm not going to do that. When I figured out that coaching wasn't really about that, then I was very excited. But for you, the impact formula, like, again, I know this shit. Like, but when I see it, and I apply, it's like it's all the steps that you need, and then you've got the mindset like spread all over that. Because then you can come back to the beginning, which I have done several times, and be like,
because you're a good student, because you're working on mastery, right?
right.
Like, and
Yes.
that's the thing. Like, I think so many people are like, but I went through that whole thing. I don't need to go through it
Oh
again,
yeah. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. For sure. And then but then you're like, oh, okay. I get it now. I see it from a different thing. I mean, I have printed out like the worksheets like 20 times, probably mostly because I keep losing them, but like also because I keep changing and like, no, that's different now. And tweak, change, which is the heart of entrepreneurship and the heart of business, I believe, is being an experimenter, changing it all up, like, but taking that what you learn and applying it and not putting the bullshit stories on it and making it mean something it doesn't. And I think that's very freeing. And I know that that's at your heart of your work, is that you have to have that like kind of hat of a scientist on a lot of times, and that's business. So I think that even if they didn't like have a clue about like how it's all supposed to fit together, they could come in. It's like a full service thing, honestly. I mean, I don't say that lightly. It puts a lot of pressure on other like business coaches like me to say, I have to like show up here with all this stuff. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I intended it to be. And we're always adding, as you know, like
Yeah.
I want it to be, because here was my experience with coaching. I invested in program after program and having multiple programs, multiple courses at once, but then it was the wrong timing, or
Yeah.
I was doing it at a time where like I was trying to get to a level, but I wasn't there yet, And so for me, like impact formula is the A to Z everything, because I want you to do it in the timing that makes sense for your business.
Yeah.
Because there is no use in applying a strategy that's like 3 years down the line. It will just frustrate you and it will cause you to burn out and fail.
Yeah.
Like especially when we're talking about bigger investments in money, time, effort, energy, all that. If you don't have a team, if you don't have the budget, it's going to be impossible,
Yeah. And I think sometimes that can be the missing piece that people are thinking, that they see. It's like, they don't see, again, it's like behind the curtain, like, oh, but this strategy works when you can throw a lot of money at it, or this strategy works when you've got a team to implement it all, but like there are places that you can come in and do it on a grassroots level if you have to, or if you've got budget, you can do that, or there's so many different ways to do it. There is not one size fits all, which is what I love about business. There is no one size fits all,
Absolutely.
or else we'd all be like, millionaires and we'd have it all figured out. So it's really about like, and that's what I believe with business. It's about fit. You can make it your own, and you can make it around your family, whatever it is, and that's where you're going to get the most success. It's like not trying to follow a formula. Like, no disrespect to people who like hawks or purses or whatever they're selling. It's like those are formula, and people can get success with that too, for sure, but you've got to make it your own. You've got to make it your own. So
yeah, if you don't, it'll always be someone else's way, which is never going to be aligned for you.
No. Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Ingrid. This has been amazing. So if someone needs help with visibility with their business, how can they find out about you? How can they follow you everywhere? And like, where are the places?
Well, I love to hang out on Instagram, being a photographer. I'm a big fan of Insta, always have been. So I'm Ingrid Kelly Owens there. But I would love to talk to people on a strategy call. I have a visibility strategy call. If they go to ingridkellyowens.com/strategy, and they can fill out a quick little application there to have a call with me. It's very easy, and I love to talk. So I would love to help people with their visibility. I work a lot with creatives. That's kind of my background, but I know that visibility is a struggle for lots of people, and it's so important. Speaking of somebody that has really that's been the key for me. So that's it. So I would love to talk.
Yeah, I love it. And I always say, like, visibility is the fuel to your tank. Do not expect to go in there and like get sales if you haven't done the visibility piece. Absolutely. And so for sure, please reach out to Ingrid. Again, ingridkelly.com/strategy, right?
Yeah. ingridkellyowens.com. Yeah.
Oh, ingridkellyowens.com/strategy.
Ingrid Kelly was taken. Even 11 years ago.
All right. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, Mariana. It's been a pleasure.